Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? Welcome to episode number 9 of KL Experience. Got a really good one in store for you guys today, so definitely stay tuned. So today's episode is about effective communication, and today what I wanted to share with you all are 5 tips that will greatly improve your communication on an everyday basis. And definitely stay tuned to the very end of this video because I actually have a bonus tip at the end that I think you guys will also find very, very helpful. And what's exciting to me about this video is that the content that I'm going to talk about is stuff that you guys can share immediately after watching this video during the first conversation that you have afterwards. I think that there are things that are not groundbreaking, but I think just hearing some of these things will be very valuable to you guys. So let's dive right in. So tip number 1 is to understand that people, for the most part, really enjoy talking about themselves and their experiences. So I think once you sort of realize that when you're having a conversation with someone and you're, talking to them, I think a lot of people usually like talking about themselves more. So if you know that and you're having a conversation, consider allowing that person to have a platform to be able to talk about themselves and talk about their experiences. The reason this is so important is because we should be looking to learn while we're in conversations with people. And one of the best ways to learn is by allowing people to be able to share information and experiences and knowledge and things like that with you. See what that does for you. I think you'd be surprised to see just how impactful that can be for you if you kind of consciously think about doing that during your conversations. And you'll kind of see that people will in turn enjoy talking to you more because they have that platform, because it's something that they look forward to, because it's rare for people to kind of have that. And the other thing with that is to make sure that you're genuinely interested in what people have to say. So I think it's very detectable. If you don't seem like you really care about what's being said, that can be detected very, very easily. All right, so tip number 2 is to think about what you want to say before you actually say it. Now, I think that if you just think about what that means, it's something that might seem a little bit weird or odd, right? If you're talking to someone and you're allowing them to talk and then you pause for a second or for a few moments, as I'm suggesting here, and think about what you want to say to reply or respond to what has just been said to you, and then you're like, okay, got it. Okay, ready to go. And then you go ahead and say what you have to say. That to a lot of people seems a little bit weird and awkward. It's like, because it's not natural and it's not normal. It's not what we're all used to. We're used to just saying something straight away as a response. It's better to take a few extra moments to think about what you want to say rather than saying something quickly and maybe it not being the right thing, or maybe it not being communicated in the best way. And then, once something is said, there's really nothing you can do to take it back, right? That's something that it's said, it's out in the atmosphere, and it kind of is what it is. One of the really funny things that I experienced many years ago in a video game actually is what kind of taught me this, believe it or not. There's a game that I used to play called Mass Effect, and there were several of them, and I played through the first 3 of them. And this game, the best way I could describe it, it was an outer space game. It was a role-playing game, and it was kind of like you were this character that you created, and you just did all types of things in outer space, like went to a dance club with aliens and learn how to dance there, save the world, save the galaxy, and everything in between those two. But in that game, you had to make a lot of important decisions, and the decisions that you made early in the game drastically and dramatically affected the way the ending happened for your particular playthrough. And what was interesting about that game is whenever you were having a conversation with someone and then something is asked to you, you have anywhere between 2 to 5 different options that you can select for the response. And sometimes I would be like, all right, do I want to say this? Or if I say this, what is this person going to think? Maybe I should say this because this is going to open up the trust, and they might be able to help me with what I need help with. And I kind of went through that exact thought process right in a video game. And I remember having some conversations with a few friends of mine that were into the game at the time, and this is like definitely over a decade ago. And I remember talking to them about it, and they thought that was really profound and interesting. For those of you who say video games are not good, too much of anything is not good, but definitely to be able to pull something, sort of a life lesson out of a video game, I think is pretty awesome personally. And if you guys are enjoying these tips so far, why don't you go ahead and consider hitting the like button, which should be somewhere in this area. And also, while you're at it, if you're just clicking away, you might as well go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button if you have not already, which is somewhere in this area over here. All right, number 3 is to communicate face-to-face when possible. So I've learned that we know that body language is something that's very, very important. And when you have an opportunity to, it should always be your first preference to have conversations face-to-face, especially when those conversations are more serious ones. There's just something to being able to talk to someone, look them in their eyes, and be able to understand what is the meaning or the feeling behind the words that are being said. So when that's not possible, obviously talking on the phone is okay too, which is, it's good. You're going to remove that whole element of being able to see, you know, their feelings and emotions behind what they're saying. And certainly a huge step underneath that is texting, which all of us do, and there's nothing wrong with texting at all, but certainly to have a serious conversation, or even maybe not even a serious conversation, just a conversation with someone, these will be a lot more memorable, I think, if you were to have them in person or on the phone. But for quick things, obviously texting is extremely valuable and helpful. So number 4 is the meeting before the meeting is oftentimes more important than the actual meeting. So what this means is that when you're going into a conversation, whether it's one that you're having with a friend or a family member, or if you're actually going, you know, to do a presentation or something in the office or at work, it's important to prepare. It's important to understand that going into this conversation with some information, rather than kind of thinking of what you want to say on the fly, is very valuable. It's very valuable to have that knowledge or that information that you can kind of pull from when needed during the conversation. And so it's important to make sure that you prepare and that you take that opportunity to do a little bit of homework on the side to make sure that you're good to go. Number 5 is to ask questions. So the reason asking questions is so important is when you're having a conversation with someone, it's more than understandable that what's being said to you, there could be some miscommunication there or misinterpretation of what's being said. And it's much better to ask a question, ask for clarity, than it is to assume that you think you know what they meant, but you really don't. And then it causes a bigger issue later on. So consider, whenever something is not clear, that's normal for things not to be clear, right? Because if someone is communicating something to you, they know what they're communicating. They know all the details about what they're talking about. And it's easy for people sometimes to leave some of those details out because they might think that you know it already, or that they told it to you already, or there can be a whole bunch of different things. So then in turn, there's going to be like some type of a disjoint there, right? Something that you may have missed out on, and that can cause a lot of issues, down the road. So definitely ask questions when you have opportunities to do so. And then the bonus tip, listen to learn instead of listen to argue. So this is something that I think is extremely important when we're having conversations with people and we have our opinion of something and we know, what our opinion is. Oftentimes when someone is telling us what their opinion is of something, we are just ready to go. We're ready to respond to it. We're ready to say what we have to say. And when we're in that state of mind, it's very difficult for us to kind of understand and listen and kind of allow ourselves to hear what's being said to us, right? So going into these types of conversations with an open mind to say, okay, I know what I want to bring to the table with this conversation. I know what my goal is for this talk, but this person that I'm talking to, they have an opinion, they have a goal, they have something that they want to get across to me as well. So let me go ahead and go in with an open mind, put my pride behind me, and let me just listen to what's being said. Once it's done, let me gather my thoughts, because maybe my opinion changes a little bit in that conversation, right? So let me gather my thoughts, and then let me say what I need to say back, and then just let that kind of happen organically from there. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that this video was helpful and that you guys found some value in the information information that was shared. And if you did, consider sharing it with a family member, friend, coworker, someone that you think might benefit from this video. That would be awesome. And also, I just want to say that we are at episode 10 next week, and I have something really cool planned. So definitely, I hope that you guys join us for that episode. Did I just say us?